Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to take a look through another selection of larger format books and annuals from my collection. So sit back, relax, and let's take a look. Okay then, so we're starting off with Tron the Storybook. Now, it says London Edition magazine, so I am assuming this is the British one, but it's in a bit of a mottled old state and it's got a sticker mark on the back. So I'm hoping we'll be able to tackle that in a moment. But it's funny, I've just been going through my Star Wars storybooks and annuals, and here we are with the Tron one. And that looks absolutely fine inside to me, but it is going to need the covers doing. So what we're going to do, we're going to go and clean these as we go along. A bit of a pile. Some books, in actual fact, here, at least a couple of Star Wars ones are actually sealed, so it's just going to be a dusting job with them. But these other ones like this, well, I doubt this has ever been cleaned. So I've got to admit, the stuff that we've been doing with these large format books, they're just looking fantastic now. They really, really are. I'm amazed at the difference it's making. I mean, look at that. That really has brought that one right out, hasn't it? Wow. Superb. Now, because it's got a sticker on the back, I'll clean around it and then we'll have a look at that sticker and see what sort of work it's going to require. So, I think it'll be alright. I just need to... Right, and I'm going to just put that to one side and we'll leave that soaking for a bit of time. Willow the Wisp. God, who remembers Willow the Wisp? Great series. Oh, look at that. Willow the Wisp Viewmaster set. I do have a few bits of Willow the Wisp, actually. They published a series of small books which are like the size of Mr. Men books. And I didn't actually know I had this. I've got a couple of jigsaws for Willow the Wisp as well. I wouldn't say I had a Willow the Wisp collection, but I've got some stuff, and this was in the right state. This has come up lovely. In actual fact, I didn't even know I had this, you know. I did not even know I owned this. But it's really come up well, actually, the polish. Look at the dirt that's come off that. That's really come up quite nicely, that one. I don't mind Viewmaster stuff. It's pretty cool, you know. And there was some other ones on the back. This looks like... doesn't say where it was manufactured. It says 1982. Of course, there was a Doctor Who one, wasn't there? In fact, I think there's two Doctor Who ones now, I come to think of it, in Viewmaster, but I haven't got either of those. In fact, I don't know what I've got in the way of Viewmaster, except, well, we've just found one. But anyway, back to the book. So yeah, Willow's Wonderland. I don't know if they did a Willow annual. Just looking in my collection, I don't know if they did. This may be as close as we got to a Willow the Wisp annual style book. This is 1982. If you've never seen it, the series was narrated by Kenneth Williams, famous for his nasally accent, and I mean, it even looks a bit like Kenneth Williams. And it's a really, really great series. I very much recommend it. That was Evil Edna. It was one of those ones that was on sort of just before the news, for like 5 minutes before the news would sort of come on. You know, they were short little stories. Yeah, give this one a nice polish. Don't think it was too bad. Just a few little marks here and there. But yeah, not a bad little series, Willow the Wisp. I quite like it to this day. And yeah, finding the Viewmaster set, well, that was a bit of a bonus, definitely. Is that dirty? Yeah, it's a little bit of, tiny bit of foxing down the bottom here. I'm giving it an extra rub, and it's coming off perfectly, which is quite good to see. That's brilliant. Oh, a little bit up there. Next to him. It's funny, the closer I look at it, the more I'm seeing It's because it's got quite a busy jacket, hasn't it? But polish tends to do the trick. There we are. Oh, quite a bit of a stubborn couple of marks there, but I think we've done about as good as we're going to get on that. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, so it's been a couple of minutes now, so we'll have a go at this Tron sticker. See if it's softened it up enough. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna come off. A little bit of elbow grease. Okay, then we're going to spray it again with a layer of glue underneath. It's almost there. Of course, you can get away with doing this on a highly reflective, glossy surface like this hardback, which is what we've done. Look at that, it's virtually gone. I think one last squirt, and we should be there. Yeah, there we are. Cool. Excellent. So that's got that one looking as good as we're likely to get it. What have we got next then? So, TV detectives. Huh. Look at this lot. So what we got there? That's Kojak. That's Patrick Mower's Target. That's the Professionals. That's The Saint. So 4 TV detectives of the era. Plus some others inside. Do you like Kojak? One of my favourites. Actually, I have a video coming up. I like the Rockford Files as well. Got a video coming up, and it's my top TV stroke police dramas, and it's been my top 5. It's been a really difficult job picking a top 5. So I've done a top 5 with 2 honourable mentions, and well, that one is coming up quite soon, in the next sort of month or so. I actually have to do that one. Needs to be sort of scripted out and written, that one. So, but it's okay. But those ones tend to take a little bit of time to prepare. But I have got a day of sort of writing, and I got a couple of magazine articles which need finishing, which have got deadlines to come as well. So I like to do those ones, and but they do take a little bit more to prepare, rather than these sorts of videos where I'm pulling the books off the shelf and we're just dabbling in it. This is as it comes. A lot of these books I haven't seen for ages, and as I said, I'm just systematically working my way through the collection in a fairly logical manner, and yeah, cleaning as we go, and those have come up absolutely fine. So that's good news. Now, this one is a softback. It's by Starlog, and it's volume 2. And I don't know, I always thought I had volume 1 as well. But it's like an early form of an episode guide that you'd find online nowadays. But I remember absolutely loving these sorts of books when I was a youngster. And I honestly don't remember where I got this one. It's dated 82. I'm sure there was, well, this is volume 2. I'm sure I had volume 1. I seem to remember volume 1 had Batman in. Possibly, I can't remember now, but it has got a bit of a glossy cover, but not so much that I want to spray directly onto it. So I'm just going to give it a gentle once over, and brush the edges again. But yeah, it was a really sort of great series. Starlog was a good magazine in its heyday, wasn't it? It really was. Now, this next little run of books, I'm just going to gloss over because it's top of the pops, and let's be honest, there's a lot of Top of the Pops that is not really, we don't really want to be looking at it anymore, because it is, what should we say, persona non grata. So I'm assuming that these books are okay inside. I've got a bit of a small Top of the Pops collection, and I love Top of the Pops 2, which is like the highlights of the show on BBC Two with Steve Wright narrating. Absolutely love those, and it's very nostalgic because I always loved Top of the Pops when I was growing up. But unfortunately, it's been marred by some of the presenters who have now been found out historically as being a bit unsavoury. So consequently, that's why you don't see many repeats of certain episodes that were presented by those particular presenters, you know. So we're not going to dwell on the Top of the Pops range. We're just going to put them sort of out of sight completely, really, because I don't want to get rid of them, but I do think they are a little bit controversial. This was a bit better of a book, the 50th anniversary. Once again, I think the 4 books that I've got on Top of the Pops were all published before sort of the scandals came out. So, you know, but this is a great book. Like David Bowie's appearance on Top of the Pops, for example. You know, I was a real sort of fan of some of this stuff, you know. So I don't want to not cover it, but at the same time, I'm not highlighting those unsavoury characters who sport the legacy, really, of Top of the Pops, and should have been found out at the time. But there you go. I'll just give that a little cursory wipe. They did a few books. I've got 4 on Top of the Pops, in actual fact. And this was the classic sort of Top of the Pops logo. This one, I think, yeah, this is a charity shop find. It's got gift aid on the back. And I'll just give it a quick little polish, and then that'll be done. This was sort of my era, that particular logo. Sort of the 80s era, wasn't it, you know? But yeah, it's sort of run its time, unfortunately, and they tried to revive it a couple of times, but it was just never going to be the same, was it? And then this was the, I think possibly the last or the most up-to-date one I ever had, 64 to 2002. And once again, this is absolutely fine, but I'll just give it a cursory wipe, and I'll pop it with my Radio 1 book, which are sort of together with these, and that's that, really. It's a shame this got such great heritage, radio Top of the Pops, and thankfully a lot of the 70s upwards footage does exist, but loads of the 60s stuff, some of it went out live. It just doesn't exist anymore. The Beatles appeared on Top of the Pops 3 times, and none of their appearances actually exist anymore, which is sort of seems criminal to me, you know. But there you go. It's like the missing Doctor Who's, you know, or the BBC's coverage of man landing on the moon. That does not exist. Can you believe that? Just crazy, isn't it? This is a great book. I see it's got a little bit of what's the word? Fading, where it's been sun bleached. The Tomb of Tutankhamun. This was so when Howard Carter found the tombs, and once that was all sort of done and dusted, there was a 3-volume book published, which was all about his discovery. And obviously these were published in the early 1900s, and that set of 3 books are incredibly rare, as you would imagine. So this is like at the highlights of that book. It's nowhere near as good as the originals, but there's no way I'm going to ever be able to afford those. They're in the thousands of pounds now. Even back in the 80s, when I tried to track a set down, they were in the hundreds, which was a fortune back then. So I never bought them, but this one will do, because this is basically the abridged version of it by the man himself, Howard Carter, the one who discovered the tomb, and it's great. It's really good. It's got all the best bits of it in here, and absolutely fantastic. What a find that was, wasn't it? The greatest in modern times. Right, this next book's a bit of fun. This is Tomorrow's World. Now, if you don't live in the UK, you probably don't know what Tomorrow's World is, but it was it was a factual program that was I think it started in the late 60s, ran all the way through the 70s, petered out towards the end of the 1980s. These were two of the original presenters, Raymond Baxter and James Burke, and they would look at, well, future technologies. That's basically what it was. And once again, it was always fascinating. And I remember vividly some of these, like when they first introduced the CD player, for example. I mean, just incredible. And I think the first CD that they played was, to demonstrate it, was Saturday Night Fever on CD. It was brilliant. But this one dates from 1971. It's actually the reprint. And I've got two Tomorrow's World paperbacks as well. But yeah, not the sort of thing you see very often. But I think this was just a find from a charity shop, not a charity shop, a boot sale rather. And I'm quite pleased to have this. I don't think it's very difficult to find or anything like that, but it's just a bit of fun to own. And as I enjoyed the series at the time, so that's quite cool. Now this next one here is sealed, so we can't do much about that, but it's a pop-up book, and it couldn't have been on a better subject here. Battle of the Bounty Hunters with Boba Fett and IG-88 on the front there. And British, this is a British one, first published by Dark Horse in 1996 under the title The Battle of the Bounty Hunters. But this is a British edition. It says first printing July 1996. Blimey, this is astonishingly almost 30 years old now. So this was published in that sort of in the wilderness years for Star Wars. It was just, they were just sort of starting to come back with a vengeance, wasn't it? And yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. You can draw Star Wars. You can, you know, by Bonnie Burton. Who was Bonnie Burton? Eh? That's pretty cool, isn't it? You got pieces of tracing paper there to. Pretty cool book, that one. Dorling Kindersley. They have the Star Wars license, and they did some pretty cool stuff. Once again, this is like a 90s one, because it says 30-year Star Wars 30th anniversary. So that was about 97, wasn't it? 97, 98. And I don't think much wrong with this. It's just, I think I've had it from you. It's just a little bit of dust that it's accumulated over that time. It's an American printing, this one, but I'm sure it would have been sold in the UK as well. And the books we're looking at are here because they're so huge, size-wise, you know, they're really, really big. So that is why they're sort of coming out now slightly out of order. Now this was a fantastic book, wasn't it? This was well, the art and the making of Star Wars: The Old Republic, which was the basically the Star Wars MMO RPG, the massively multiplayer online role-playing game. It's a bit, if you think of it, a bit like Warcraft, where you roll a character and you then work your way through a story, and then you can progress your character and team up and do sort of raids and missions. It was a lot of fun in its day. But unfortunately, I mean, it's sort of petered out. I think it's still around, and it's free to play these days. And you sort of buy for like, extra weapons and stuff during the game. But I don't know. It wasn't perfect when it got released, but it was a lot of fun, and I did enjoy it. But it wasn't no Warcraft, unfortunately. Now these two are a bit of a pair. These the Files magazines, and I had a couple of Swamp Thing ones last time, if you remember, and they did a whole series of these, but they're in fact there's a little list of some of the ones on the back here. Look, Files magazines, look at them all. The Avengers, James Bond 1 to 4, Dark Shadows 1 2, Doctor Who, loads of those, about 12 of those, Fireball, The Prisoner, Star Trek. Yeah, so it was the sort of thing that you could get away with publishing before the days of the internet, because they were very much fact filled, you know. But basically just glorified magazines. That's all they are. And I won't give those a polish because, as I said, they're almost like magazine covers. Here's a, so that was V. This is my British V annual from 1986. very much enjoyed V back in the day. Good old show. I didn't sort of go down the mega collecting route, but I have got the annuals. I've got all the paperbacks, and I've got the set of the DC comics as well, of which there's 18, I think 18 issues of the comic book were released. I mean, I've got all those still as well, you know, so I've got the printed V, but they didn't do a lot of memorabilia. They did do a doll, didn't they? A visitor figure, which I haven't got. And a gun got released, and then there's quite a lot, you know, like badges and stuff. There's some jigsaws, but not a massive amount. I haven't got any cast signatures or anything, but I did enjoy it at the time, and the books were good as well. The books were good, and that's why I've sort of kept those, really. Little mark on the back of this one. There we are. Yeah, a typical British annual, that one. And as well as the V book, we also had a V storybook. Now this one is a bit scarcer because it was published by BHS, which was the publishing arm of British Home Stores, and they did a Star Wars one as well. They were probably thinking this was going to be the next Star Wars. Alas, it sadly wasn't, but it's an interesting piece none the same, and worth tracking down if you're a V fan. No idea how sort of scarce this one is now. This edition published exclusively for British Home Stores. Now, this one's also got a really awful sticker on the front, and I don't know, looking at it, if I'm going to be able to do much about that. But it's got some other dirt around it as well, so I'll get the rest of the cover cleaned. But I think that might be a bit too much to clean up. But we'll let's get a clean bit of cloth. This is looking a bit scabby now. Brand fresh bit here. But yeah, V never really lived up to its potential. I don't know if any of you saw the TV series, which I think once again ran for about 18 or so episodes, and it sort of petered out in the end, which is a shame because that had promise as well, in all honesty. But yeah, it just sort of died a death. It never quite fired the public imagination the same way that the mini-series did, which was really like, it was an early event television, wasn't it? I remember it coming out around the time of the '84 Olympics, and in the UK I had to wait for the Olympics to finish in LA before we could before the TV channels would broadcast V, you know. So I'm very annoyed, really. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to do much with that particular one. I just don't think. Shall we have a stab at it? Okay, you've talked me into it. Let's see if we can get it off. I've softened it a little bit, so we might be able to do it. You never know. I'd love to get it off because apart from that, this book is absolutely fine. There's no marks or anything on it, so I'll just glide the old thumbnail underneath, and it may actually, we may be in luck, you know. It's already been half pulled off, so I don't think we're going to get a smooth sticker removal, I'm afraid. It's going to leave some marks, but I think we might be able to get the worst of it off. Yeah, so that bit's come off okay. Let's go down along the bottom here. See if I can pick this bottom bit up. Yes. Okay. Now, yeah, I do think, you know, we might be in luck. Might be able to soak that off, you know, over time. So it's just take as much off as I can without drowning it in polish. Yeah, so this is actually quite a nice example of this book, and apart from this horrible sticker on the front, which would have been like a remaindered one or something like that, it's actually in really great shape. Well, quite a lot of this is coming off much easier than I thought in actual fact. It's got a nice glossy cover here. Let's go into the top here. I think we are going to need to give it a polish though in a minute. It's a bit tricky to see if the cover is actually sort of cut slightly. We are definitely making progress here. Yeah, it's coming off. It is slow work, mind you, but yeah. Well, I think that's maybe all I can get off with my finger, so let's give it a really good spray now. And we'll put that to one side and we'll give it a chance to sort of soak in, and then we'll see how we get on in a minute. But I think we've done pretty good there. I think that's going to come out all right. Now, this next book I've had for years, ever since it was published, and it's looking the worse for wear. Look at the top there, really dusty. So what I think I'm going to do is completely take it out of its wrapper first of all, because I remember absolutely loving this one, and we'll give the wrapper a clean in a minute. Let's just clean the boards first of all. This one's been with me, as I said, since it was published, so I'd be interested to see when that was. I'm guessing 80s, but we need to get this dust off here. What a difference that's made. Right. Oh, blimey. A little bit of foxing even on the inside here. But that is okay, because we can have a go at that. Yeah, a tiny bit of foxing on the inside. Probably on the back cover as well, yeah. As expected. That's okay. Let's have a flick through. Try and get the pages going again. Yeah, you can see this is a great book, isn't it? I remember loving this one. Can't remember where I got it though. It's been through a few home moves with me over the years. Colour section there. Yeah, nice book, that one. Octopus Books. When did this get published? First published 1984. I reckon that's probably when I got that. You know, it was a present, I reckon. So that's as good as we're going to get it inside, but it was a real old state. But if we put the dust wrapper back on, we'll give the dust wrapper a clean, because it's certainly aged and yellowed a little bit on the outside, so it'll benefit from having a bit of a clean. freshen it up a little bit. Spine's particularly bad. Really, really bad. Jeez Louise. Look at that. My God. A fresh bit of cloth again. It's amazing what a difference it can make, you know. It really is. Wow. Incredible. Yeah, that's miles better than it was. There was a bit on the inside jackets here as well, so I give that a wipe down. That was also really bad on the flaps here. That's much better. And we do give the back flap a rub as well. There we are. I think that's as good as we're going to get, that one. Okay, so back to our V annual here, and this has been soaking for, well, probably about 5 minutes now, so let's just see if it's already looking much better, isn't it? Yeah, I can feel the stickiness coming off beneath my finger here. I think we've done a pretty good job there. Yeah, look at that. That's come up lovely. It's still not off completely. You probably can't see it, but it's not perfect yet. There's still some stickiness there. A little bit of sticky residue, which let's get in there. But we'll get that with the very last bit. I reckon we've done good there. Actually, we have done well there. Because that was really awful, that sticker, wasn't it? It really was, and we've got it. There we are. I'm really pleased with that. That's looking good on both sides now. Excellent. Right, now we have got the last little pile to do. It's all Star Wars bar the very last bit, and this one is only just about going to fit in picture. This is the Star Wars trilogy sort of cutaways, the incredible cutaways, which is just a fantastic modern Star Wars book. One of my absolute favourites, where they take the things and they like go behind the scenes, you know, with the cutaways. Absolutely fantastic. Look at that. Great stuff, isn't it? Really, really groovy. That's the Cantina. It's one of those great books. Dueling Kindersley again, which is actually an arm of Penguin, believe it or not. Dueling Kindersley is part of the Penguin group. So let's see what we're going to need. Try and find, once again, a bit more clean cloth, because although we've not done many books, the books have been in a bit of a state. So in some cases. So let's give this one a bit of a wipe down. I think I'll move this one up. I've got a separate shelf for really, really large, tall books, so I'll put this one up with those, because this is so big it's really out of place. But that's cool. These cleaning videos, they do require sometimes a little bit more room than I've actually got. Here's another odd Dueling Kindersley one. I'm not quite sure why I've got this one, but because I didn't really pick up all the books from this sort of period or anything, you know, but It's one that's sort of ended up in my collection. There's a little bit of wear around the edges there, which will come, it will lift straight off once it's been polished. So we shall do that now. You'll sort of be able to see just along the edges there. It will, all that dirt, look at that, it just lifts itself off down the sides here. It's amazing, absolutely amazing what that Mr. Sheen will do. Just ordinary furniture polish. And that's sorted that one out. Let's do the spine. Back cover now. Lovely. That's fine. A bit across the top edges as well. Sometimes worth doing that sometimes. Just where it's been stored for years and years and years. Yeah. Like so. Brush, I think, as well. It's looking quite dirty along the top edge there. There we are. That's as sort of as good as that one's going to get, but it's much better than what it was. This is a great book, and I think it's probably quite scarce. I only have the one printed. The Wildlife of Star Wars is an absolute beautiful book, this one. It's published by Chronicle, and Chronicle books have a reputation for publishing beautiful books. It's as simple as that. So this is the Wildlife of Star Wars. Let's have a flick through this one. Oh, look at this. And this one, unfortunately, looks like it's got a couple of pages stuck together. So that usually means that a tiny bit of moisture has crept in over the years. But you can usually get away with that by just flicking through it a few times, and it loosens the pages up. So yeah, that wasn't too bad, just a little bit. You can sort of free them up by just doing this. Let's give the edges a brush down, because it has picked up a few marks. Obviously nowadays they're stored in a super dry environment, but over the years that's not always been the case, and some of my collections had to be stored in different places in different people's houses, and inevitably a few things are going to sadly get a little bit not damaged, but not be stored perfectly. So this one has picked up just a little bit of foxing, very, very light from when it was brand new. But I think it's probably a scarce one, this. And when did it come out? 2001, yeah, 22 years ago. Now these ones here, we saw a few of these last time, and I don't know if these are doubles or not. I don't remember us having one with a pen, but these are just sort of like kids' sort of puzzle activity books, which have ended up over here. So just give the top edges. This is the sort of stuff I'm not too really fussed about keeping, you know, they're just sort of part of the collection. Now we saw earlier on the Boba Fett pop-up book. Here's another one, which was the Mos Eisley Cantina pop-up book, and this one once again is sealed, which is pretty cool. First edition, it says 1995. So all we will do with this, because it's sealed, is I'm going to just wipe the edges down and leave it sealed. I'm not going to open that one. So that's really nice. That's cool. And I got 3 more Star Wars books. Now these are the Star Wars illustrated scripts for the original trilogy. Now these should be pretty good. Oh, look at them! You can see it's got like that storage crackling because it's never been opened. It's a nice big glossy book, but it's sort of been, the pages are sort of, they need this little treatment there where they're being run through, but they're actually okay. Virgin was the publisher. Look at this. That's what I mean. You need to sort of go through and release the pages again. Oh dear, not good. Yeah, that first page there, look at that. Moisture has got in somehow, and it's actually caused it to leave a little mark there. That's a shame. 1999, so 24 years these have been in storage, in effect. And I mean, they're not really mega collectible or anything like that. You know, you'd be lucky to get cover price for them. But all the same, I thought they were nice additions at the time. And I think, didn't they release videos with these jackets on as well when the special editions came out? And they've got a little bit of storage spotting on the back. So I need to find, if I can, a clean bit of cloth. This one's going to go in the wash today. You notice that it's got just a few bits of spotting here and there. So it's not going to need a lot, but it will need just a little bit just to capture the worst bits of it. Yeah, a bit of a shame that's got that in, but as I said, it's not exactly the end of the world. The book's still fully readable. It just shows how important the correct sort of environment can be for these books long term, you know. So we got one for each movie. So we got one for Empire and we got one for Jedi. So let's hope that the Jedi one is better, but we'll see. Look at that, it's like unbelievable, isn't it? They're not too bad. I mean, it's because it's on this really glossy paper, and every page is in glorious colour. It's really, really nice. And it's got the full script there. It's almost like a photo novel, isn't it? Yeah, same page. Look at that. Anyway, it's okay. Give it that once over. Let's remember to do the edges as well. There we are. Right, Empire, and now Jedi. Ready? It's exactly the same spot, all three books. Look at that. Yeah, just like where some form of sort of moisture has crept in. Very, very unusual, but not to worry. They're cleaning up all right, aren't they? And that's the main thing. Get the last little bits off, cover residue, and these will all look so good back on the shelf now. They really will, now that they've been through their 10,000 mile service, as it were. Or in my case, a 3-decade service. I really am enjoying doing these large format books because there's so much that I just haven't been through in so long. Unlike the paperbacks, which have had a bit more of a attention of late because of the YouTube channel, you know. So, but these big books haven't really, and I've never covered my sort of more modern Star Wars books on my main channel. Now, the very last book is this one, which is an absolute beast. It's the album cover art of soundtracks. Now, I'm a big fan of movie soundtracks, and I've got on my record collection nowadays, most of what I've got left is actually soundtracks, believe it or not. Although even those, it's not, I wouldn't say it's like anything like any sort of comprehensive collection. It's, you know, maybe, I don't know, 100 soundtracks possibly. But I've always been attracted to the art. A lot of them have the movie, they have the movie poster artwork, of course. But this is just an absolutely gorgeous book. And I've got similar books on movie posters, and we'll sort of get to those. They're coming up probably in the next large format cleaning video. We'll get around to doing the my books of movie posters, and they're split by decades, like 40s, 50s, 60s, and they're really cool. But there's some good stuff here, isn't there? That was a great album, went across 110th Street. Yeah, some good stuff here. The Bruce Lee one, not Game of Death, but Enter the Dragon, another great one by Lalo Schifrin. I'm a big soundtrack guy. I love them, absolutely love them. Some great book this, isn't it? Really, really is. The 60s ones, all the James Bond ones, of course, fantastic. But yeah, I think Roy Budd, Lalo Schifrin, John Barry were probably my top, and John Williams, of course, are probably my top composers for movie soundtracks. Then second string would be what's he called, James Horner. I really like him. Who else am I a fan of? Hans Zimmerman I like as well. They're probably my favourites. Yeah, that's a nice book, that. And unfortunately, you may not even be able to see it, but it has got like some marks on. So we'll give it this last thing, because it's obviously it's the dimensions of an album. That's how they've done it. It's just like a 12-inch album. So you can slide it in next to your albums, although my albums are completely separate, unfortunately. I might get them down, because vinyl's definitely having the revival now, and it would be nice to get them, although I've pretty much got all my albums sort of digitally, as it were. Doesn't beat the originals, of course, does it? Right. Last bit on the back here. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this one. I think I'm trying to think what we're going to be doing next week. I believe it's going to be the second half of the, well, not the second half, but the second part of my vintage Star Trek paperbacks. So certainly not the second half. It's just part 2, basically, with 2 boxes of those to go through. So look out for them in 7 days' time. But that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed seeing these larger format books. I've certainly enjoyed going through them, as I always do. If you've not already, do please hit the subscribe button. Do please give the video a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it. And I'll see you again in 7 days' time with another video. Bye.